Hi there, this is Toby Green and you're listening to The Green Room with Tom Green and Jacob Gaynor. Stay tuned.
Oh, coffee's for a week for that, mate.
Thomas.
We're back.
We're back.
We're trying to signal to
Episode
each other
8?
whatever episode we are. We're back.
7?
We're in the
8?
thick of it. Who cares, mate?
Have you been more excited for an episode before?
No, I haven't. Not with the guests we've got coming on today. No, I haven't.
I think the best part about the guests now
Is that they sit there.
is they sit and listen.
We get to eyeball them. And the viewers don't.
And I'm excited to see how this man comes in because we did the same thing last week with Brent Daniels and he came in pretty hot.
He didn't come in pretty hot. He came in piping hot. He was ready to go and he was sitting there building himself up until we let him loose. And boy, did we let him loose.
But I think we held our own.
Yeah.
Well, I
we
did.
had
You-
to. It was sort of fight or flight. Like, as in, he puts in that position and it's, either throw a punch or get out of there. And we had to throw some punches.
And we did. And a few landed.
Yeah, they're hard to hit with Binger.
Well, not for me. We're same size. Should we talk about the weekend?
No, we can probably skip that.
Yeah, our first loss.
Yeah. That was coming.
It was coming.
Well, yeah, at some point. Ideally.
Not on the weekend, but it came.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, do you want to quickly go through that?
Yeah. Well, I think King has addressed it in his post-match press conference. And a lot of it was on us as midfielders, myself and the rest of our midfield. We got smashed at centre bounce and conceded a whopping score and number of scoring shots from centre bounce that, it doesn't really happen. And so, there are other few things that go wrong in games, there always is, but the outlier, I think, was centre bounce, and that really cost us. So that's on myself and the rest of our midfield, and it's something that we'll be looking to rectify on Thursday.
A few of the questions we've had during the week were regarding your choice of headwear for the game. Can you explain why you strapped your head?
Yeah, so I strapped up, and for any of our viewers at home, they might be able to see the stitches above my left eye. I copped an elbow in the face.
Name and shame.
Lucky Ash.
Mm-hmm.
He collected me. I was
Got you good.
Yeah, in training last week. You were pretty quick on that one on the socials and letting everyone know that I'd been cleaned up and not the best looking guy at the best of times, but with blood sort of half strewn all over my face and what some people called a tampon shoved up in my nose and then my head taped up. It didn't make for the best viewing, but
I'm not going to say
fine.
just from my end. I'm going to say from any social media manager's perspective, that's gold.
Yeah. Well,
and credit to you for wearing it because you did.
Yeah, no. Well, in the end, I just didn't want it to bleed, and I didn't want to have to come off and whatever. So I don't know if I'll be rocking it this Thursday. I think the stitches will come out after the game on Thursday. I'm not sure I'll tape my head again. I might just put a little bit of Vaseline over the top. But that's why I was had the head taped up, looking like a second rower in rugby union.
You're from a rugby background.
Yeah, I am. I'm from mixed background in terms of sporting ability and whatnot, but rugby union was one of my ones as a junior.
Wouldn't say ability was up there, but okay. Before we welcome our guests, which we mentioned that we're very excited, a special week, a special round for the club, for the AFL in general, Anzac round for the first time in a long time. We're playing on Anzac Day, prime time, Channel 7 game, 7:30 in our beautiful hometown of Canberra. It
really doesn't get any better than that, does it? Absolutely pure conditions up at Monica, no doubt, up in God's country. It'll be amazing to get back. And it is such a poignant and special occasion. Anzac Day is a great day for all Australians and able to celebrate our servicemen and women throughout our history. And it's an occasion we really look forward to, and it's a great opportunity that the AFL's granted us to be able to play on Anzac Day night in Canberra. So hopefully that's a regular fixture that we can get and make the most of.
And before we welcome our guests, there's two quick topics I want to address.
Sure, mate. What do you got?
First one is, in my role, Tom.
You get to do whatever you want.
Well, I get vetoed quite a bit. You'd be surprised how many ideas don't find themselves on the Giants' social media accounts.
Not that hard to believe.
But one thing in my role is to survey other clubs, just see what they're doing, check their channels, what are they doing, who are they following. And one club that I'm very intrigued by at the moment is our friends down in Tasmania. Obviously, we've addressed before on the podcast that you're out of contract. You Tassie come in. I hope you know where I'm going with this, Tom.
I don't.
And I think you do. by the look on your face, I've just gone to have a look, and I'm extremely jealous of the person or people that are managing that account because they've got 4 years of free content where no one can say anything about them.
They're not even verified yet.
Yeah, well, they'll get there, but it's 4 years of being undefeated essentially.
Yeah.
Which is just so if you're listening to
you
Tassie,
do your best work.
Oh, haven't you cost me this week? To be fair, I've actually still had some fun. But one thing I noticed in this account, I said, wow, I wonder who they're following. They're probably not following players yet, right? Wrong. Tom Green. The Tassie team follows Tom Green. Quite suspicious. Oh, they're putting in the groundwork early, are they? I went to Tom's profile. Guess who you're following, Tom? The Tassie team.
Hang on. Okay, so
Care to explain.
let's just get a few things clear here quickly, right?
Stop looking at our guest and you look at me and you tell me the truth.
Well, they followed me first. So I haven't initiated that. I've got off the training track last week and come check my phone. Well, first of all, I wasn't even checking my phone, obviously being the consummate professional that I am. I came and weighed out as our dietitian, Mel, makes sure we do every single session, make sure that we weigh out properly, know how to hydrate, how much to hydrate, that sort of stuff. So I came and did that. I opened up Instagram quickly, just have a quick little check.
Quick refresh.
Yeah, just, what's happening? What's the feed doing? New follower. Oh, okay, interesting. Hop on. So, the official Tasmanian Devils? It's kind of weird. Check that. Yes, about 70,000 followers. So I thought, oh, that must be the one. Like, that's kind of weird. And as you said, they have a free hit for 4 years. So I just thought, well, a follow back's pretty harmless, isn't it? Like, I'll just see what they're sort of getting up to, what they're posting, what they're up to. I didn't really think much. There was too much to it, to be honest. So I didn't realise that who you follow and unfollow is such a hot topic. And if I hadn't known, then maybe I wouldn't have followed them. I might have to clean up my following now. who I'm following, because I know, and this is a topic that actually I won't allude too much to the guest that we're going to get on, but he's a big NBA head and he's a big Twitter head, and there's a few accounts on Twitter that expose like NBA players for who they're following
And liking.
Yeah, that sort of stuff, which I always find really, really funny. And I didn't realize that had now somehow fallen onto me as well. So I think I'll have to clean up my act.
Okay. Well, that's one address. And you also mentioned another topic I want to talk about, and that's Twitter.
Yep.
You came in...
X.
Sorry. Elon.
Yeah. Elon's not happy with our country at the minute, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's a whole different podcast. That's something I don't want to address.
That's a can of worms we probably shouldn't open up.
No. I think you're in enough hot water with this Tassie stuff. But I want to talk about Twitter.
X.
So, X, you've come in and said that you put out a tweet during the week.
Yeah.
And you found yourself with 227 likes.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with myself. 227 likes is hard to come by on Twitter. Would you like me to read the tweet out?
Well, let's compare, because I actually tweeted during the week as well, Tom.
On your private account? As in
private, Jacob's account. 594 likes.
What was that about?
I've responded to some choice words from Carlton fans about myself.
See, that doesn't count though.
Yeah, it has to be a random status.
Yeah, but also, like, you're applying to, like, Carlton thing. Like, you can't, like...
That counts.
No, it doesn't.
All right, well, read yours.
Well, why don't you read yours out and we'll see whose is more quality? Because yours is reacting to these guys.
They're two different subjects.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying you came in bragging about your likes and I've doubled you.
Yours is easy to get likes on. Mine's actually a funny tweet. Yours is just, really excited to sign with this...
Guangdong Tigers.
Exactly.
Well, this is the tweet from Rational Carlton fan. Yeah, which is ironic.
Anytime you poke the bear or,
I didn't
disturb
poke the
hornet's nest that is a big Victorian team's following
as for that midget troll, Jacob Gaynor, step your media game up because soon you'll be admin for the Guangdong Tigers. And then I just said...
Yeah, stoked to be signing with them.
Beyond excited to announce I'll be joining the Guangdong Tigers.
See, that's not funny.
It's funny and it's witty and it's clever and it's quick.
No, it's not.
Read yours, Tom, and we'll discuss.
I will. So this was 5 days ago. And I was just sitting. I was about to watch my younger brother play water polo. Shout out to Lockie. He was Lockie, my youngest brother, was up the road, and he was playing water polo at a water polo tournament last week. And so I was hanging out with Mum, and she had some mandarins. I had a mandarin. I was like, wow. And so I got to thinking, because this mandarin I actually had a lot of seeds in it, and how annoying is that, right? Like when you're eating mandarins, the most annoying thing, and like you accidentally miss one or whatever, and you bite into a seed, and it just like ruins that piece. And anyway, so then I thought, and this is just the tweet that came to me in the epiphany of inspiration that I had. In honor of mandarin season, I just want to make mention of how large a morale booster a seedless mandarin is. Uninterrupted luxury like no other. Whatever deity it is that brings about that phenomenon, I'm a believer in. #Mandarin, #seedless. And I thought that's actually really quality content. Lockie Keefe also shared some thought because he tweeted back to me saying, thanking the same deity that you at least provide some quality on the field because wow. Which was really nice of him. But I actually had a few people say, is that going to be Tom's trending topic? So it's not going to be my trending topic, but it's clear that people want to hear it on the podcast. But anyway, my Twitter game, as you can hear, is pretty clearly elite.
I wouldn't say elite. I'd say it's getting there. Like you're tweeting. That's the first step, buddy.
Yeah, well, I've got some other good tweets, but I probably can't read them out. That's for people to go and check my Twitter account about. But
can we also ask, what's your handle? Like, why isn't it Tom Green?
I think it's Padre Verde. Is that what it is still?
Yeah,
Let me check.
What is that?
It was it is Padre Verde. It was a joke from back when I did Italian in
School.
in high school. Yeah, Padre Verde means Father Green in Italian. So it was just kind of stupid. But anyway,
should we get to the guest?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Because he's sat there listening about.
Can you bring that
your ordinary
Mr. Guest,
Twitter
can you
game?
please bring that little note in with you when you come in?
Who was that from?
We'll wait and see. We got to wait for the.
You can walk in front of the camera. Don't worry. All right, I'll do the introduction and then you can walk on. All right.
Yeah.
Our next guest was drafted as a forward, debuted as a winger, and has established himself as one of the competition's best defenders. His story is one of persistence and perseverance. Please welcome into the green room. He's an avid High School Musical fan, the boy from Bronte, Jack Buckley.
Just keep your head in the game. You gotta get your head in the game. You gotta get ahead in the game. You gotta get your head in the game. You gotta get ahead in the game.
Wow, that was good timing. You're on.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thanks for fixing the podcast shortage in the world too.
And he's come in hot. Welcome, Jack.
No, thank you. It's good to be here.
Despite that, it is a pleasure to have the one, the only, the great Jack Buckley on. The boy from Bronte, the kid from Bronte.
And he's no random guest. He's an avid listener, as he was speaking before we came on with the little head shrug.
He certainly is.
He's an avid listener, but not only that, it actually is a very, very special week for our boy Bucks. 50 games this weekend, Jack Buckley.
Is it really?
Yep, major milestone. You know, that's what you dream of, getting to 50. Some do it in 2 years, some do it in 7. So I'm unfortunately the latter. So, yeah.
I'm probably going to steal a little moment of your thunder here.
If you take what I'm about to address,
I know what you are.
I swear to
take
God,
it.
I'm going to be fuming.
I'm going to take it.
Don't
I'm sorry.
take my thing. I swear to God.
I'm going to take it.
We know
So-
where it's going.
Don't know where this is going.
No,
You'll
you
know.
do.
You'll
Because
know.
it's amazing, as you said, 50 games is such a great achievement. And speaking of achievements,
Oh, you knew what I was doing. Stop reading my notes.
I'm not reading them. I don't read your rubbish. What an achievement it was on the weekend, Bucks. First goal in the AFL.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Have you seen
So,
a worst first goal?
yeah,
in the
officially the
AFL?
worst in AFL history. And, you know, there's plenty of people who kick their first, so at least I'm different. Unfortunately, none of my family or friends got to see it go through the goals. So that's an issue a lot of them have taken up with Fox Footy themselves. So, yeah, I think it wipes one off Charlie's tally, so he's only kicked 7 for the day then in the end.
It is a moment, though, that obviously every little kid dreams of, kicking your first AFL goal. And it is the fact that it's come after the siren in a game that we've lost. And
And the cameras have cut to Carlton celebrating.
You know that no matter what, you can't win. And so you've ended up kicking it off one step and nailing it as a one-step set shot.
Yeah, I think I was the first person who wanted advantage taken off the free kick because Wolfie almost snapped it. And I was like, Wolfie, I'd love you to just put that through so I can keep this going and kick this at a more suitable time. But I sort of went back and then went through the routine, which is one step, bang.
Put it through.
Put it through. There's no vision, so I don't know.
We've got the vision.
You've got the vision.
We'll clip it in this part. We've got the vision. It didn't come.
It's
from,
not worth
It
watching.
did not come from broadcast.
It did not, and
It came from I think
they hate backmen, and they always have.
I do. But you are a little bit of an old. You've
You drafted as a forward.
And you've got a bag
I
of
do.
7 on the resume.
Yes, well, we could talk
Canberra
about that
Demons.
infamous day on Tom Wills against Canberra Demons, me and Jack Cardi.
That might have been like
Um,
Canberra Demons' last ever game.
Real flat track bullies that day, me and Rickard. Rickard kicked 8, and I bobbed up with 7, which actually people didn't really believe I was going that badly. So
It was pretty funny.
What
That
was going through your mind at Marvel Stadium? Like you obviously knew it was your first.
yeah, I was just like, everyone dreams about their first goal. Like I'd head hits the pillow at night occasionally, and I'm like, might do it in the final from 50 on the run. And so I've gone back. I'm like, so this is it. This is the moment.
This is my story.
This is how this is going down. And I walked back and I put it through with a bit of disdain in the end, and went and shook a few hands and got off the ground as quick as possible because I had an absolute mare on the day.
Did anyone get around you?
I don't think I gave anyone a chance. I immediately just put the mouth guard in the sock and went to just
Shake hands.
shake some hands and get out of there quickly. I think JP might have given me a little bum tap, but once there's a fair bit of silence after a loss, so no one sort of speaks for a while, and then eventually once
It dwindled out
it
on the
starts to
bus.
murmur, a few blokes come up to you and they go, "Was that your first?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty dirty though."
You got a few hugs on the bus.
Yeah, well, I didn't.
Once everyone was talking again on the bus, it got a bit of traction and had a few laughs, and was actually had some angry family members. I was like, it's not that serious. Like, I'm a backman. I don't really care.
I think it's nice to see how many people care.
Yeah.
I was getting messages about, can we find the footage?
I think they were
Nobody
my
saw it.
cousins. I remember you saying that. And I think all those comments were just my cousins and my family members. So
I'll
the
fess,
public don't care.
I'll fess up to the fact that it didn't even register to me until on the bus someone mentioned it, and that's when I gave Bucks a hug and was like, I actually need to get around here, because I remember when it happened, I looked at it and I thought Bucks might just, knowing who he is as well, I thought he might just literally just like kick it away or something, like just not really care for it. But I was like, no, literally, I thought put it through for percentage purposes. Who knows? We might need that goal later in the year before and
Play
again.
my role.
Yeah, so put it through. But then as soon as I saw him kick it, I was like, yeah, who cares? Let's get off the ground.
So if we sneak into September in the top 8 or top 4
We
on
know
percentage, we're coming back to you.
Yeah.
100% we are.
I think people gave me too much credit. A lot of people thought I'd already kicked one, and I was like, mate, I haven't been near it.
Yeah.
Because who's left? Connor Iden.
Yeah, Seeker's the
He's
one.
flat.
And when that day comes, we all pray that that's not the moment.
Oh, you don't want it.
We need that one to be a big one, because it could be John Aloisi sort of stuff.
He had his chance against North.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be that sort of thing, though. As in
He gave that as much as he could.
And my feeling is the way, like, I really want his to be either like a winner or a party time sort of moment that we can really go off, because
Yeah,
he deserves it.
yeah.
And you're not
that
wrong
was
in
the
the
moment.
celebration.
If he dobbed that one from 50 against North once we'd won the game, it would have been raucous.
Would have brought the house down.
Yeah, it would have been ridiculous.
My one was a pretty good summary of me as a bloke.
Just epitomises who you are.
Yeah, just behind the scenes.
Now, we mentioned when you were walking on that you've got a pretty remarkable journey, and I know I say remarkable journey about every bloke every week, but yours is genuinely remarkable. I mean, you played 25 games in 6 years, and now you're about to play your 50th in 7 years. And I want to talk about, before we talk about your upbringing, the boy from Bronte, obviously it gets around.
Just a kid from Bronte.
I want to talk about. I think it speaks volumes to how far you've come. Do you remember the time that we met?
I do. And I knew this was going to come up, because we can start there. This was probably my...
We can skip the childhood.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is.
Was this my third year? I reckon it was 2020. Yeah, just before COVID.
No, it was earlier, 2019. I don't think you debuted yet.
No, I definitely hadn't.
Must have been
And
2019.
we did a camp together down in Merimbula. Me, Tom Hutchison, and Jacob Gaynor was the AFL New South Wales
I
representative.
wasn't even at the Giants yet.
Shout out
So
to
he wasn't even the Giants, and his job was just take us around Merimbula for a couple of days. And we were at the pub, having a beer, and I was basically writing the obituary for my career.
I don't want to say it was bleak, but wow.
I thought, I wasn't going overly well, and COVID was about to come and cut /list sizes, and I was on the chopping board. So we had a good laugh over that, and some good bonding down in Merimbula, and then watched. I hope he doesn't watch, but I can't remember his name. We went and did 10-pin bowling, and this guy was
Mitch
an
Wallace.
absolute wizard. Yeah,
Mitch Wallace.
yeah.
Do you know Mitch? He's from Canberra or Queanbeyan. But it was an odd camp. Like we went down there, it was just the three of us. Plus, so I wasn't from the area, obviously. Mitch was there, drove us around, and we did a couple of clinics. And then there was one night where we had all this free time because there was no planes until the next day. So we went to the pub for dinner and then went and did bowling.
Random.
Don't know why.
Pretty fun to me.
But at dinner, Bucks is just going like,
I'm done.
Like we're the same age.
Let's not exaggerate. I don't want but yeah, it wasn't a good outlook.
No, you were pretty honest, and like you were just like, oh yeah, mate. Like I'm probably thinking, what's next? I think you were talking about uni and studying, and you were asking me questions about university life.
What's the real world
Yeah.
like?
Oh mate, it's grim.
Belief was low.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought you'd be where you are.
Nah, not at that point. And I mean, to be fair, I've still got a long way to go. But yeah, I guess that year COVID was a strange one, and at the back end, I just sort of started to find a bit of form in the AFL Nines, the Corona Cup as we called it. Greener was a valued member of that, and then actually me, Greener, and Seeker all played the second last round of that year, which was my debut. Seeker's first game in the year, and Tom's first game back out of
Banishment.
for the year. So, and then yeah, ever since then, it's sort of try to not look back aside from injury.
Can we just make it that debut, right? Bucks was
A winger.
No, but when I say awe-inspiring, like I have never seen a man play possessed like Jack Buckley did that day. Like there were times like after the game, Leon even made mention. He was just like Bucks, if you're going to play like that every game, you might only play 20 AFL games, because he threw himself like from the wing, whether it's going back, he's throwing himself into packs, going forward, he's throwing himself into packs. I swear he's going for ground balls with his head, not his hands. It was psycho. He was in beast mode, throwing himself at as we now know, he's just the Jack Buckley way every single week, every single contest. But watching it for the first time up close like that was unbelievable. It was an amazing sight.
Oh yeah, well, I'm not going to comment on that. Yeah, it was just one of those days. Me and Seeker call it kamikaze footy, and it was just I was playing for a lot that day. And it was just trying to put the head over the nurry and see what happens. And yeah, unfortunately we lost, but yeah, I actually got delayed concussion, so that's probably why I was running around like an idiot, because I was up with the fairies.
For those that aren't really familiar with your journey, we'll take it back just a couple of years before you debuted and before we met in the beautiful Merimbula. You were a product of the Sydney Swans Academy until you were 16. Yep. Famously didn't enjoy your time in the red and white.
No surprises there.
Not shocked. That news shocks nobody. And then went back to local level. Can you tell us a little bit about that time?
Yeah, so I just played local footy throughout my teenage years, played Swans Academy I didn't actually play, I trained, because when the games came around the weekend, this guy wasn't getting picked. So I was a part of the squad. I trained Tuesday, Thursdays, from under 12s till probably got to under 15s, 16s, and just didn't really enjoy it, just because I didn't think I was any good, because I was never getting picked. Thought I was going nowhere with it, and I was like, well, if I'm not enjoying going to training, sort of, why am I doing this? And went to the old man. He was like, yep, that's fair. Why? Just give it up. And then probably looking back, I sort of just didn't rock up. I didn't really say anything. I just sort of stopped going, which I weren't overly happy with, I don't think. And then, just went back and played at the Maroubra Saints. And then won a couple of flags there, under 17s, and then
subtle drop.
started playing sort of high level basketball at school, and really enjoyed that. It was a great program. Got to work fundamentals, form shooting, as Grant knows me well for.
Drill.
Yeah, and just loved that. And then once school ended, clearly wasn't good enough to go anywhere with my basketball, because it's kind of like, well, are you good enough for the NBL? Definitely not. You good enough for the NBA? Well, that's a different stratosphere. So then I just sort of went back to, playing footy, which I was doing at sort of junior level, and then went and played 19s and started to really enjoy it again. Had a great coach who just made me enjoy the game, and from there it started to go. The next year I started playing seniors for UNSW Bulldogs, then people, I think Brett Hand gave me a call mid that year, I think it was 2017, saying, do you want to top up for our NEFL side in Brisbane? And I thought I was getting prank called, but he knew my coach at local level, so that was sort of the connection. And then flew up with it. It was one of those situations where the reserves and the AFL team were playing the same place, so I was on a
Travelling
plane
together.
with all the giant, like the ones boys. He wasn't there at the time.
Is he sort of gesturing to me like,
I sort of gesturing
you were
like he
still
was
in
there.
school.
Yeah.
I was in year 10
Yeah.
or 11.
He started topping up a couple of years later, and he was as big as a house. So that was a bit surreal, and then got belted by Brizzy by about 120 points.
Always been strong.
Their VFL
Nah.
/AFL side used to just.
It's worth talking
absolutely
about because they were just 23 men.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'd never played above AFL Sydney local level in my life. So I was playing against, a local footy up here, it's pretty long down line contest. Zipping around, I'm running, I'm 80 kilos at this point, 194 centimetres. I hadn't touched a weight in my life. And I've got Matt Eagles and Josh Walker and just
bodying you.
Josh Walker took NEFL Mark of the Year on me. Off a standing start. We were both sort of there, on each other, and he just hopped on my shoulders and said, you have no idea what you're doing.
That's a highlight reel.
Yep. That's a poster.
And then somehow got asked back the next week and the week after, and played 4 or 5 games for them, and then actually played one with the Swans.
Where were you playing?
I was playing sort of forward, forward wing, which is what I always sort of played at local level. Just always played up forward.
You played a NEFL game for the Swans.
I didn't know that. You suited up in the red and white.
Yeah, I probably
How
hadn't
does that
thought about
work?
it as much, but they wanted me to play for them, and it was actually broke the record for most AFL listed players in a NEFL game, and I was one of the top ups. And
right.
I played about 40% game time. It was a fair bit off the pace. So I tended to play better for the Giants in those top up. I did, at the end of that, I really wanted to, even though I was sort of from East Sydney, I actually grew to love the club a lot in those sort of 5 weeks. And all the guys like Matt Flynn, Isaac Cummings, Zach Sproul, Jake Stein, some of the guys playing reserves at the time, just
Super welcome.
was so welcoming. Invited me out to the pub after games, and just sort of that vibe they gave off, I just really want to be part of. And so I was really thankful that it fell my way in the end.
It's funny that you talk to people that have had it. I mean, I'm not going to come out and shit can the Swans, but it's funny that you listen to people's different stories and perspectives and times at different clubs and both clubs. And I'm similar. I think going and working there in some capacity and then coming to the Giants, I think that welcoming nature is just it's at the forefront of who the club is.
Yeah. Well, I guess a summation of that is that my second top-up game was against Sydney Uni out of Blacktown, and I didn't have my licence. I just hadn't done my hours. I was catching buses.
Secret off-field indiscretion.
No, I didn't even,
He's
I
just
had
a boy
it.
from Bronte, mate. He's
I
a
just
boy
caught the
from
bus
Bronte.
everywhere. I was just I just enjoyed it. I didn't feel the
I'm
need
hearing
to
issues. I'm hearing
get my
secret
licence.
This is why he was a late draftee.
Yeah, so it took me about 2.5 hours to get from Bronte to Blacktown by public transport, and then after that game, Stephen Kingo was coming back from injury, so he played twos, which he should never really play that often, and he showed it that day. Him and Brett Delidio actually both played that day, and he heard that I caught the bus out, and he gave me a lift all the way home, didn't know me before that day, and then I remember on the way home, I was busting because there's free Gatorade, which I'm not used to, so I was just smashing them after the game. And then about halfway, it's a long trip back, and I was about to piss my pants in his car and had to pull over in the middle of Surrey Hills and do one on the side of the road and keep going. And then they all invited me back to have beers with them that night and had a good night. So, that was a real eye-opener in terms of the sort of people this club has.
And then how did the draft come about? Like, how did you find out you were going to get listed?
Yeah, so I think I could only play a max of 5 or 6 Neville games. So then I went back and just started playing local footy, and the recruiters started to talk to me a little bit. I was still like thinking no chance. Just thought it was a good experience. But then once they started to talk to me, and then I met with Leon Cameron too, and I was like, this is starting to feel like a little bit of a chance. And then went through the whole sort of process of getting a manager and all that, and it was just all happened like in the space of 2 months really. And then all of a sudden, I was a decent chance of getting a rookie spot, and there was a small chance of maybe getting taken in the national draft, but I think it was a real long shot in hindsight. And then so I was watching that night, had a few mates get taken. So at the end of the night, I wasn't too despondent. I was just like, I'll wait till Monday, see how the rookie draft falls. And then that night, Agent Caruso gave me a call and said, we're going to pre-list you as a Cat B rookie if you accept it. I'm like, yes, I do. And then
I'll call you back. Let me think about it.
yeah, and I just remember being at home, and I'd worked the next morning, so I was in bed when he called me.
Where were you working?
I was doing basketball coaching on the Saturday mornings. Teaching the youth how to play the game at
You
the
have
right.
one of the most unorthodox shooting styles, and you were coaching.
Yeah, it's effective though. Yeah, that's fair. I shoot like Lonzo Ball for those out there that haven't seen it.
I'll find a clip.
A real
But
connoisseur of the fundamentals.
And once one goes in, green and nose, it's game over.
he just needs to see pure scorer. Once you see one go
Yeah.
through, it's
If I'm not seeing him go
lights out.
through, it's a bit of trouble. But once one goes, I'm streaky
You're on.
and I'm on. Sidetracked. So, and then so had work next morning, and then Dad had gone to bed, and I sort of went and woke him up. Or I didn't wake him up, but went up. I was like, mate, I've just sort of been drafted, I guess. And then we were like, holy shit, and had a beer and sort of reflected and was like, how did we get here?
Emotional moment?
Yeah, we're probably not two emotional guys, but it was sort of a pretty surreal moment. Yeah, for sure. He means a lot to me, as the rest of my family do, and he was sort of saw the whole way through. And it's sort of a funny one because it might get mistaken as a hard luck story, or like a lot of guys really plug away and do the hard yards to get drafted. And to be honest, I kind of didn't really. I was just sort of right place, right time, and popped up. So yeah, it was sort of like, how did that happen? And then once I walked in the door, I was like, all right, head down, bum up. I've got a lot of work to do.
We spoke about your debut, and we've done it in a bit of a weird way, but we spoke about your debut and getting into the side. And was it 2021 where you started to feel settled?
Yeah, so sort of, early 2021, once I sort of found a home down back, because I was sort of, I guess my whole sort of shtick was I was versatile. I could play wing, play a bit of half forward, but neither at the highest level. Like I was pretty good, but I hadn't really cemented a spot or anything. So, and then Phil Davis got injured in round 3, 2021, and threw me down back, and I was like, I kind of like it down here. It's good fun. So, and then
I'm kind of good at this.
I didn't say that. And then got a chance there over the next sort of 10 weeks. Got to learn what it's like to play, week in, week out AFL footy, and try and cement a spot and be a part of an AFL team. And that was extremely valuable. And just that really sort of set me up in terms of just my belief that I could do it and belong to the level. And then that just got better and better, and just try to keep improving as I went along.
And then against the Melbourne Demons at the MCG, can you talk us through what happened that afternoon?
It was real early in the game. It was about 2 minutes in, and just a marking contest. I was sort of coming back, and I think it was James Hunt. Oh, I don't think, I know. I've relived it a lot of times. No fault of his own. He just sort of came across and sort of fell over, and just all his body weight went into my knee, caved the way it's not supposed to go, and blew out a few pretty crucial ligaments in the knee. And then, so I remember sort of going down to the docs room straight after. I wasn't really sure what was going on, because it was bloody painful, but I was like, maybe it's just like, I've been knocked and then he starts doing the tests. I'm like, oh, like that feels pretty loose, which is good. And he's like, that's not good. Your ACL's been decimated. And so I'm like, oh shit, that's pretty gutting. And so from there, it was it's sort of a strange one. And a lot of guys who have done these will sort of know that initial shock. And it's sort of something you see a lot of guys go through and you never really think it's going to happen to you. So when it sort of did, I was like, yeah, shit, well, this sucks. And my sort of phrase at the time, which a good mate of mine, Hamish, we coined it, is, or his dad calls it shit house, not fatal. So I was like, it sucks, but life goes on. And then as it sort of drags out, you start to learn that, perspective is great, but you also got to live your own reality at times. And it wasn't much fun there for periods, but you get through with good people.
Because like initially, was it your first thought 12 months?
Yeah. So I was just like, all right, 10 to 12 months, I'll try to get back sort of hopefully early next year. I was really flat that I couldn't be a part of the rest of that year, and seeing the boys go on and they won a final, and that was a huge, goal of mine, to play in finals and win a final. So, and another part of it was in the hubs, right? So I
disconnected from the whole group.
Yeah, well, I got shipped back to Sydney, like damaged goods, with my fellow damaged goods, Matty Flynn and Keefe. I think Prusy was there. He made his way out and got back into the hub. And then so it was just us three in this whole building with one of the physios. And yeah, it was just a strange one. So you just felt really disconnected. But it was good to see them go on and have some success that year. And then, just sort of things just wasn't going to plan from there. Yeah, I'm not sure if you want me to go into it.
No, go into it for sure.
And then so sort of I lost. I had to get a second surgery on the knee. Bit of a clean out. Was meant to be pretty minor, which it was. But I just lost all my muscle again. That I just sort of tried to spend 6 months building back. So then it was almost from sort of square one again in terms of building the leg back up. At the start of that next year in 2022, had some new physios come in, which was great, like Matty Cameron, who works here. I couldn't speak highly enough of. He's extremely loved by the playing group. He's a great man, and he sort of helped me through it. And there were certainly times where we were sort of basically doing trial and error, because essentially just my quad, the muscle just wasn't coming back, and that's a pretty important part in terms of getting your knee right. Is building the muscle back around it. So I was sort of, on Skype to people in Ireland doing random banded exercises that, a lot of players out there could like just imagine. Some of the stuff you do is just so weird. And then, there's a few other things I did, all above board. And then, and
that sounded suspect.
Yeah, I know. That was a bad gag. Don't come for me.
Don't clip that one.
Yeah.
Test this bloke. Or
and then throughout the year, it's just sort of 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, I guess. And that's not the same, but it's close enough.
He's rattled. He's currently rattled.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm rambling.
No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, so... And then I was in there, I think Bingham spoke about last week, that year we were sort of in it together. And there was a few coming in and out as well. Phil Davis was a big one trying to help me through. And then, unfortunately the boys weren't going overly well, so it wasn't the greatest place to be around, especially while you're in rehab, and not being able to do anything about it. And then the pre-season after that started to get a bit of, the new coaches came in, Kingers and all the rest of them, and I was like, all right, I need to get going here. I need to show what I've got. And then actually didn't do much of that preseason. All I did my calf and missed a lot of it. And then I was pretty underdone, but pulled out round 1 last year, and I was sort of next in line, and was like, all right, well, that's my spot now.
You mentioned, well, not directly, but back to that period where you obviously missed the 2 years, essentially. You for those that come back with an ACL injury or a knee injury to what you did, one of the key highlights for any club and what they like to showcase is when you run again, like the first time running.
This is
And it's like from a social media perspective, like it's just a great highlight to just showcase to the fans how far you come. You're not too far away. Like, you know, we're making some progress. You came back out onto the field and did a first run, and we filmed it. Everyone was getting around you. Do you want to tell the story?
Yeah, so essentially it was my first run back, and word gets around and all the club wants to do is post it on socials because these guys need to justify their jobs. So
Getting around you, but that's
that's a cheap whack. And then so I'm running out there and I wasn't actually going well at that time, but we just needed to sort of see, you know, where I was at. So I went out there and ran through the gates of everyone getting around me, which I sort of hated, but you appreciate it because you are getting a bit of spotlight when you've been starved of it for a while. And then I go to do my first lap and I'm just thinking, shit, this feels terrible. It basically like felt like my knee was just like, I had no absorption. So I was running like a busted ass around and I did one lap and I was like, oh no. And then I was like, I can't, after all that fast, come out, do one lap, and then walk back in. So I did another couple and looked probably even worse, and then sort of walked in, and we sort of looked at each other like, yeah, I don't think that went overly well. And then went and had a check-in with the surgeon about a week later, and he was like, yeah, let's get you under the knife. I think you need a clean out. There's a fair bit in there. So then, it was just after Christmas. I was trying to dodge COVID. It was the time when COVID was exploding. So yeah, that was sort of a funny story in itself, but I won't get bogged down in that. And then, surgery and then sort of back to square one. So yeah, it's what you dream of when you have that first run and everyone's looking at the socials going, they're texting me. I was getting so many messages. I was going, so good to see. I'm like, yeah, like I'm flying. Like I just didn't want to go tell everyone. And then all of a sudden I literally just came back from Chrissy break and all the boys sort of like what's going on?
Yeah,
Why
where
you
are you
got
at
like
now? Like,
bandages on your knee? Like, yeah, so it was a weird one.
And then you touched on your return game, and you were lucky enough to do it with Binger and Brent Daniels that you mentioned. But what was the date? 623 days.
Yeah, that was actually a funny one. That was a question on camp in one of those forms that we do.
Yep.
And I was like the only one that didn't know. I thought it was 523. I try to forget a fair few of them. But it was, that one was a weird one. I remember driving the game. I didn't know if I was playing. So I got
mindset to be in.
Yeah, it was, and I was desperate to play. It was really unfortunate. Like, got injured, but when I got there, Seeker, who great mate of mine, lived with at the time, I sort of was like, mate, can you go like suss out what's going on? Because I still didn't know. And he sort of walked around in the physio room and realised that I was in, Lek was out, and I've just like started sprinting around like a little child, and then me and him are just like sort of having a bit of a moment because he was there through all of it and he was great support, as were a lot of people, and especially Binger, who played on the day as well. So yeah, it's just, and I mean, probably the hardest game of footy I've ever played.
Was not an
people
easy
probably remember that one. That was really hot and I was underdone going in. So when the siren went and we won, it was just, it was a real relief that I was just sort of back playing and getting to experience a win again where you have to watch a few on the sidelines.
Yeah, what was what was your emotion? I remember interviewing you at the end, and I spoke to Binger about this last week, that I spoke to both of you separately. You both mentioned each other, but you both got very emotional.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just there's so many times. It's not like you really doubt you're ever going to come back. I always knew I was going to come back. Like, I wasn't that sort of despondent about it, but you miss out on a lot. So just to be part of the group again and be a part of a win again is something like, it's all you want to do. So when you're there and you just can't get your body right, you don't know why, that just becomes really frustrating. And so when you finally get back to that moment and you just get to do what you love doing again, it's just it's a real relief. So it's probably just you finally get to let go a bit and sit back and go, oh, thank God, like I'm here again. Like, let's just like get all that shit out of the way and let's just play footy again. And then from there, I just wanted to start playing footy again, week in, week out. And yeah, that year was it was insane how it turned out in the end. It was a shame how it ended, but it was just awesome to be a part of.
I think it's pretty well documented the success you had last year in establishing that relationship with Sam Taylor and your own form. But when you mentioned those finals and being a part of it, did it cross your mind when we beat St Kilda or Port Adelaide? Then it's like, wow, like what a remarkable 18 months.
Yeah, it was. It was sort of by that point, it was sort of in the rear view a bit. It was. I tried to put it past me because I didn't want to dwell on it too much, but it was like that, especially for my family. Like they were sort of there and they were riding the wave, and that's a big part of it. That when you're injured, like when you're in those moments, they get so much joy out of it, but when you can't do that, you feel like you're starving them of that. So just to sort of bring them along with it and see how much excitement they got from it, like I was like, oh, it's fucking awesome to be in a position like this again.
Last question for you before we move on to a segment, because we're going to get in trouble for our own time, Tom, but we don't mind.
It's all pretty important so far. I don't think we really
I think
can cut anything
I
out of
think
this.
people will be pretty invested in this one. My last question to you is, you're pretty similar to Tom here, actually, in terms of your mindset.
Bucks might find that offensive, you know.
Most people would.
I do.
No offense intended. But you're pretty similar in terms of your mindset, I think. So, like when I say the word like aspirations, and I mentioned to Tom previously, and he's not shy about his aspirations to be the best player or the best midfielder in the game. Like when I say aspirations to you, like what do you think?
Oh, look, I do want to be the best I can be. I don't want to sort of put a label on it like the best defender in the comp, because I just don't think in terms of that other people judge that, and I don't know them and they don't know me, and power to them. And I think we have the best defender in the comp, Sam Taylor. So I just want to be the best part of that back seven possible. I want to be a really important member of that. Like I value playing with him. I value playing with Seeker and Harry and Ashy and Witt and Leck and Pez. So just making that back seven the best in the league is something I value. So it's probably not as much personal as much as it is as being a really sort of valued member of this team. It's cliche, I'm sorry, but I just, that's sort of how I feel.
You answered it well.
Yeah.
I think
It's also a very, like, again, who you are, Bucks, is very much, which is why...
doesn't like any fuss, does he?
Yeah, which is why everybody loves playing with him. Is it apart from the no fuss sort of stuff, he's super competitive, as we see every single week, and he's also, like, I don't think maybe to a detriment, but he's just so team orientated, all about winning. It is all about winning, as we talk about Bucks in a lot of our NBA discussions. But in terms of the way that he actually views his football, his life as well, like as in he's just so competitive. He doesn't care about himself. He cares about the team winning. He cares about us winning and putting us in the best position each week to win. So it's why he's one of my favourite teammates to play with, one of my favourite people around the club, and it's a pleasure to get to play with him every single week.
Take
Shaft.
that.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Buckley and winning in the same sentence, because I've got on good authority that the self-proclaimed king of FIFA, he actually lost to James Peatling and broke a TV.
Oh, okay. So a part of that's factual, part of it's very incorrect. This is the standards I hold myself to. I would think at the time I was up 3-0 on JP.
Yep.
And I conceded one. And I was like, I've got to put this bloke away. It's not at my level. So the fact that he kicked one burnt me, but it was it's so bad. I basically had like sort of a 1.5 litre bottle sitting at my feet, and it was about 3/4 full. And
I've
just, heavy, and absolutely kicked it with some real velocity. And it's just sort of spun backwards like a perfect Sharon, and the cap side of it's just flushed the middle of the TV and just black. And so at the time it was me, Jat, Connor, Ide and Xavier. We were all living together, and it was sort of the shitty TV upstairs, but it was Xavier's. It was still a TV, and it was Xavier's. And so I had to go down about, look, mate, I've broken your TV. I'm sorry. I show a lot of remorse. I'll pay you for it. I'm not sure it's worth its initial price.
It's not a brand new
but
TV.
We can negotiate when the time's right. And we all saw the humour in it, even though I was embarrassed.
Did you negotiate?
I did pay. I think I did eventually pay him. It was half price for, I think it was about $200.
Can we just quickly address the fact that you're up 3-0 and you've conceded 1. So the game is still really in your control. And
Yeah, you just got to hold yourself to a high.
That is some sign.
Spat
some
the dummy
mindset.
enough to break the TV after conceding 1 up 3-0.
I'm not great at controlling my anger, especially in fact. Me and Toby have had some like extremely heated battles.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna get to trending topic, Tom. You don't have too long,
Yeah.
but Bucks and I are pretty eager to discuss this as well. You ready?
Boy, am I ever.
What do you got, Thomas?
Well, this has come from a little bit of inspiration actually from...
Our guest.
Let's not pin this all on me.
No,
but yeah,
no, don't worry. We won't pin this on
He's
you
the
because
only one in
I'm...
a relationship here, so be careful.
yeah. Shout out to Celeste.
Yeah.
I love you.
No,
Aw.
massive shout out to Celeste, by the way. One of the true great ones. But this Bucks brought to our attention, and it is one of the worst phrases going. And it's what's the phrase again? If he wanted to,
he would.
Yeah.
If he wanted to, he would. Right now, that is a phrase.
Wait, can we start by saying, at the same time, I'm going to count down from 3. I want all of us to say agree or disagree with that statement. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Couldn't
Disagree.
disagree any physically more. Like I couldn't. If the anger it evokes.
You know what it should be called? If he doesn't know, he can't. Like, honestly, like what? Like we.
Oh, nice cut off.
That is nice.
No, seriously though, like this is what people can't mind read, right? People aren't mind readers. I don't know about you guys, but me particularly, I'm all time bad at reading small social cues. So when I hear this, if he wanted to, he would. Like this is obviously
If he wanted to, he didn't know.
Yeah,
Is that what you said at the start?
If he, I think I don't know. I haven't really thought about it too much, but if he doesn't know, he can't.
Yeah.
Makes
if he
sense.
doesn't know, 100% it
I
makes
think.
sense.
Yeah.
Because like, I feel like, and I have had this as a thing. I'll just tell people, right? If I ask what's wrong, tell me what's wrong. If you say nothing, if I hear a nothing, then are you sure? I'll even go, are you sure? I'll give you that other opportunity. And if it's no, I'm fine, then don't come to me in an hour with, you know what's funny? You know the funny thing. You know what? I just can't. You know that I can't read your mind. I just need to be told because I don't want to waste energy thinking about it. I don't want to try and dissect far out. I know I'm a prick. All right, I know I'm a prick, but I don't know to what extent I'm a prick. So if I've done 1,000 things wrong, I don't know what it could be that I've done wrong. Just tell me what I've done wrong, and I'll fix it. But I can't read minds. Am I wrong here?
No, I tend to agree. I just think that, you know, most of us will just assume that, especially as a single man, if someone just thinks they're giving you signs, you're probably not seeing them.
I'm picking
Or
up.
most aren't seeing them. So
I need to be told.
No, I'm
Yeah.
picking up absolutely nothing. I'm walking around oblivious.
Do you know what you need?
I need it spelled out to me.
Like you
Yeah.
do this for me.
Exactly.
Sweet.
I need it pretty clear.
Sweet.
You're right. As a single guy, I'm not picking it up. I need to be told pretty explicitly what's
What's
going on
happening.
here. Yeah. And then you tell me, I'll do it in a
yeah,
heartbeat.
it's giving us too much credit.
exactly.
So-
Way
so
too
you're
much.
saying
I'm not
that,
that
like-
smart.
Oh, no guy's ever bought me flowers. You're not thinking twice about it, but if you go, oh, can you buy me flowers? Better?
Look, that one will probably get a rebuttal because it's like
You're
you should
almost-
occasionally make a nice gesture
Yeah.
without needing to be asked.
Yeah, but I'm not
This
talking
is
about
just
you. I'm
more
talking
for-
about Tom. I know
Yeah,
you
okay,
do
yeah.
that.
No,
Tom's
sorry,
a bit
fair.
better
I just
than
want to
you.
make that clear.
Why are we making it like I'm completely hopeless here, right? I'm
No,
picking that
Tom
one
is
up
completely
too.
hopeless.
I'm picking that one up. I understand. No guy's ever bought me. Okay, well, fine. You know, it's pretty obvious.
I'll
isn't
go to
it?
Woolies. I'll get you $10 flowers.
No, there's actually a good flower shop down the road down Bondi Road. So don't worry, man. I know where I'd get them. But
Nice.
that's not what that one I can pick up. It's just stuff. Again, if I ask if you're fine, like this, like just tell me. Can you just tell me?
Yeah.
Like
It's probably fair.
if there's something wrong, just tell me.
It's fair.
And this stuff, if you wanted to, he would. Like, I'll do anything for you. I'll go over and above, but I need to know. I need to know. I can't read your mind. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what you need. You need to tell me, and I'll sort it out.
Okay. Right.
Maybe this is why I'm single.
I think so.
I think it is. It definitely is.
And what about you then, buddy?
Yeah, you had some thoughts on
Yeah,
this that
exactly.
you haven't.
You haven't said.
Yeah.
I'm the mitigator.
Don't
in
wipe
this
yourself clean.
relationship. No, I completely agree with Tom. I think we're both single for very differing reasons.
Okay, one of they.
Wow.
I think yours is personality. I think I'm small.
That's probably a fair one.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so next
Anyway,
week,
ladies, tell us.
feedback below, please. Next week, we're going to get you back for a quick segment. Okay.
Oh,
'Cause
yes.
I want you to
We
think
missed
about
out on
it.
today
So
'cause I
we don't have
rambled for
enough
too
time
long.
because I feel like it needs time.
I'll be back.
And it's a
needs
short
time.
week in terms of turnaround for this podcast because
Yeah.
we've got our Anzac Day clash this week. So next week, Derby week, doesn't get any bigger. We're going to get Bucks back. Anyone else that can contribute?
Nah, there's only one other sound basketball mind at this club other than myself, and it's Jack Buckley. The others are clowns and have no idea.
Okay, so next
that
week,
fair?
Yep. I couldn't agree more.
we had unprecedented
Josh Kelly.
success.
Clown.
We had success with our
Luckily,
first 11 soccer
clown.
side. So next week, Jack Buckley will return in the green room and we will reveal our basketball first five.
And probably our second five as well.
Yeah, we'll have a reserves this time.
Okay, perfect. So stay tuned for that next week. Now, to end this one, we're going to go to the poem. Bucks, I've gone pretty light on you.
Hang on. Well, yeah, we'll say we are going to the poem. ASMR this week, unfortunately, is giving
Yeah,
me
Jack,
this
do you want to touch on
because-
that?
Yeah,
Wait,
sorry.
I need
Jack
to press
Buckley.
the button for ASMR. Ready?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so
Let the song play
no,
out.
I'm getting impatient here. ASMR is not going to be in this week because
It's a joke.
Jack Buckley thinks you can come on to this
No,
podcast and run it and,
This
and
is
change up
this is
whatever he wants.
how bad this is how bad it is. That all I did was just voice like that. I didn't think it was much good, and Greener has immediately folded into scrapping the segment.
No, I haven't. It's not scrapped forever. It's just scrapped to accommodate for this bloke.
So I'm sorry to
guess
those
what?
out there that
For 1
like
week.
it.
Bucks is
but
back next week, so it's scrapped again.
Nah,
Yeah.
It's not scrapped next week. I'm coming back with probably a couple.
You don't bring any ideas for it. That's the problem.
I have one. I just need a zip tie.
He said
That's
zip tie.
alarming.
yeah, the zip. That sounded weird.
No,
Yeah.
don't give this man zip ties.
Let's skip that one.
Hold on. Now that sounds bad.
Okay, we're gonna move. We're gonna move.
I just need zip ties.
Oh, that's ASMR.
Oh, what a waste of time. All right,
That's putting into it.
We'll get to the poem. Bucks, you know the drill. You got to give me a rating out of 10.
Oh, gladly.
Last week.
Can I have a roundabout ratings afterwards?
Yep.
Yep.
Last week, just for your context, last week.
Was your worst yet?
No, it was one of my best yet, and you laughed multiple times when I listened back, and you gave me a bad rating because Brent Daniels was sitting here, and you would try
I
to
gave you a
impress
bad
him.
rating because you deserved it, and I'm about to get roasted in this one.
Here
so.
we go.
It's going to be tough.
As per usual, put it together pretty late. So let's see
That'll
how
be
it goes.
considered.
Yep, of course it will. Tom and Jack, it's been a pleasure, but you've had your turn to speak. Now it's my turn. Let's recap the week. We headed to Melbourne. It was Kingsley against Voss. Carlton handed the Giants their first season loss. Patrick Cripps is a star. He's a level above. He wore Tom Green like a glove. Tommy looked average with the strapped head. Seriously, though, Cripps left you for dead. In terms of suspensions, where there was a double, both Toby and Jesse found themselves in trouble. I've heard a rumour there's a clause we can invoke. Apparently these days, you just need to be a good bloke.
Toby's in trouble.
Lucky for us this week, it's a quick turnaround. Tom and I are heading back to our beloved home ground. It's a short break, and here's a zinger. The only thing shorter than this break is our old mate Binger. Oh no, it's going to cost me.
Yep.
I'll come back.
It's going to cost you dearly, buddy.
I'm going to say it again.
Soldier on.
It's a short break, and here's a zinger. The only thing shorter than this break is our old mate Binger. We host the Lions on a special day. It's no doubt an honour for the Giants to play. Fans will flock to Monica from 2 up at the pub. They'll party into the night at the Tom Green Fan Club. Now let's talk about my favourite back. It's time to roast our boy Jack. If you thought I'd go easy on you Bucks, well no. I'll embarrass you more, like Charlie Curnow. Kidding Bucks, I'm not going to be mean.
He's taking scalps today.
Kidding Bucks, I'm not going to be mean. You've been dismissed. I wouldn't insult the nicest man on our list. Tonight, Hogan and Toby, they'll need an attorney. But this week, it's all about you and your remarkable journey. Congratulations, Bucks. You're a legend through and through. Nobody deserves this milestone more than you. You're a club and fan favourite, we can all tell. And unlike Tom, at least you're playing well. So good luck this week, Bucks, my friend. Let's hope our losing streak against the Lions comes to an end.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You've buttered me up for a nice rating.
That was weak. That
Yeah.
was weak.
I was ready to come
Put the
down.
mic down.
You're gone at him to
With-
start,
with
and then
the
you
hammer.
serve that up.
And
All
then
that happened
you
was one
bombed
line. You
back.
can't get a whole roasting. It's his week.
Okay, I did.
You need to pick up your game.
That's fair.
It's a 5.
What?
Yeah.
You've butted me up for a good. It's out of 10, not 5.
It's average.
That
5.
was good.
I love that.
No, but you lost a bit of respect trying to just sort of, get a nice rating out of me.
This is what you get. This is what you get.
Do you
I'm
know
actually
what's
going to be nice.
dangerous?
You get.
You're back next week.
True. 6.
You're going to get an 8 from me. It was
Wow,
pretty
that's
good.
nice.
I like the roasting is quite funny.
Okay.
I've called for the roastings more in the past. I didn't appreciate. Actually, you know what? Sorry, you get a 7.5 because you stuffed up.
Yeah, that's largely with it. But you didn't
That's
have to back.
embarrassing.
You backed back over it too.
I didn't have to do that, or
I think you should have just kept it moving.
Okay, noted.
Yeah, but
Appreciate
so that wasn't ideal, but it was pretty good. I enjoy the roasting. All in good faith, of course. I hope.
Always.
Yeah, I'm happy to catch a stray.
Yeah.
I deserved it.
Yeah, no, it is.
Well,
funny.
you'll be in the firing line next week because 5 is like I'm actually pretty flat.
Yeah, well,
I'll probably text you now.
we'll see how Thursday goes.
But,
Hopefully, I don't give you any material.
Oh, you will.
Yeah,
I will.
not bad, Jacob. Okay.
Okay, 8's pretty good.
I backtracked to 7.5.
All right, I'll take it. Anything else to add?
Nah, we'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of In the Green Room.
Bucks, thanks for coming, by the way.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And we'll
Always a pleasure.
see you next week for our first 5.
Yeah, I'll come in real hot with that one.
All right, see you next week.
Excited for it.
Thank you.